It's No Excuses with Fernando Mateo.
With me today, Republican candidate Fernando Mateo.
Business owner Fernando Mateo.
Our next guest, Fernando Mateo.
Now, here's Fernando Mateo.
Here we are. My God, what a show, Michael Cohen. When you know, my brother, you killed it. You left me with millions of people waiting to hear me. You know, I am so excited about this because Andrew Cuomo was...
This is you, my friend.
Oh, my God.
Close.
Yo, listen, this is the Michael Cohen. I read his books, and believe me, I got goosebumps. I am so proud of John Catsimatidis, Chad, Lopez, for bringing in, a legend, because he is a legend. And, he sets it up for me. It's like the Yankee lineup. Who's batting first? Get on base. Who's batting second? Here you have Michael Cohen batting third, which is the best hitter on the team. And then it's me, of course. I clean it up. I just hit it out of the ballpark. Michael, congratulations. I listened to you. I was sitting right in here in the studios, and I was so excited to hear your story over and over, and I want to continue to hear it over and over again. But now we have No Excuses with me, your host, Fernando Mateo. All right? No Excuses is so popular that people are listening by land, by sea, and by air. This is crazy. I run into people in the streets that were flying, told me, I heard you, I was on a plane. People that I walked the streets, they heard me on land. And then you have people that are on ships. I ran into 2 Navy guys the other day, and they said, hey, Fernando, I heard your show on WABC. Listen, we have a lineup here that John Catsimatidis put on for Sundays that is remarkable. You have Cindy Adams from 2 to 3, Roger Stone from 3 to 5, Michael Cohen 5 to 6, Fernando Mateo 6 to 7, and the great Jake Novak right after me from 7 to 8. You can't beat this. I mean, you can't make this up, guys. Today we have a special guest, which is former New York City Chancellor David Banks. But before we go to David, we have a new segment tonight where we're starting, and it's brand new. And it's called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Because every week, Zohran Mamdani gives us something to talk about. Sometimes it's a good idea, sometimes it's a bad idea, and sometimes it's just plain ugly. So tonight, we're breaking it all down for you. And every week, stay tuned to that, okay? Let's start with the good. Click to cancel. Click to cancel is on fire.
Today, I'm proud to announce that we are taking this work a step further with 2 new rules that we are enacting under the authority of our Consumer Protection Law. First, we will be launching the nation's first ever click to cancel rule. Because if you can sign up with 1 click, you should be able to cancel with 1 click. Second, we are enacting a new junk fees rule that will require fully transparent, all-in pricing. That means no additional costs, fees, or charges after you've already made that purchase. Together, these laws are estimated to save New Yorkers more than $162 million per year. And for any who have built a business model on hidden fees and exploitation, consider this to be an official notice. If you violate either of these rules, you will be held accountable to the tune of $525 per violation. And just like those junk fees, I promise it does add up, and it does so quickly.
There you heard it. Listen, this is a great idea. And you've got to say it. When the mayor does something right, you've got to say it because you've got to be fair. Now, him saying that he's going to save New Yorkers $162 million, how do they arrive at that number? That's number one. Number two, the city is going to rack up billions in fines. $525 per fine that he's going to, punish corporations with that don't take you off, that don't allow you to click and cancel. $525 is a lot of money. It's a lot of punishment. So the city's going to benefit from this big time. So it's not all about New Yorkers. It's about bringing money into the city's coffers. Companies make it easy to sign up, and they make it so difficult, almost impossible to leave. So finally, that's changing. So I like that. Congratulations, Mayor Mamdani. You're gonna kill two birds with one stone. You're gonna save New Yorkers some money. I don't know if it's 162 million, but I know the city's gonna generate billions with the fines that you're gonna institute. Okay? So listen, if you can sign up online, you should be able to cancel online. That's just common sense. This actually helps everyday New Yorkers. Congratulations, Mayor Mamdani, because at WABC, we are fair. Fernando Mateo is a fair guy. I'm not here to hate on you. I'm not here to talk bad about you. I'm not here to badmouth you. I want you to succeed because this is our city. It's not your city. It's our city. And if we succeed, you succeed. So that's my message to you, dear Mayor. Now let's go to the bad. Let's talk about the bad. Mayor Mamdani wants New York City to own grocery stores. Government grocery stores. What happens to the neighborhood bodegas? The family businesses that have served New Yorkers for generations. Bodegas are part of New York. Thousands of families depend on them. Millions, I should say. Not thousands, millions. Government shouldn't compete against small businesses. Why not help Bodega lower their costs instead of competing with them? Mayor Mamdani, that is bad. So I gave you the good, I gave you the bad. Now I'm going to give you the ugly. Because you know what the ugly is? Blaming someone else. Leadership isn't easy. Every mayor inherits problems. Every mayor. Nobody starts with a clean slate. But leadership isn't about telling us who created the problem. Leadership is about fixing the problem. Too often, when something goes wrong, Mayor Mamdani points at the prior administration, blaming Eric Adams. New Yorkers don't want excuses. They want solutions. You know, every mayor inherits problems. We all know that. Accountability starts day one. Explaining the problem doesn't solve the problem. Leaders own responsibility. Mayor Mamdani, if you're a leader, if you're going to lead this city, stop blaming the prior administration. We don't want to hear that anymore. You know, so another thing I want to comment on, guys, I want for our community, New Yorkers, to know one thing. There are billionaires that are milking us. Literally milking us. Last night I went to the Jay-Z concert. I must have spent $10,000 for a few tickets. When I got there, I had to wait an hour and a half to get in. He performed for 1 hour, and then it took me 45 minutes to get out. And the crowds were crazy. But you know what hurt me the most? Was seeing all my black brothers and sisters, Latino brothers and sisters, and white brothers and sisters that can't afford to pay these kind of prices. The nosebleeds, $500. If you wanted good tickets, you had to spend thousands. So here are all these people from the projects that live in affordable housing units. These people can't afford your prices. Jay-Z, brother, you're a billionaire. You know what? Do concerts for free. You can afford it. Give back to your people. Give back to your community, because this is what we're about. You know, when you're a rapper and you came up on the streets, you struggled. But once you make it, show some appreciation. You know, and I'm referring not just to Jay-Z, I'm referring to all these rappers that do these concerts and the tickets are out of whack. And their base, their client base, are poor people. People that can barely afford to pay their rent. So now they're borrowing, they're saving. Instead of buying their kids clothing, they're spending it on a concert. My man, listen, my brothers, my sisters, we're from the same hood. You can afford to do free concerts. And guess what? You had 60,000 people there Friday, Saturday, and today you probably have the same. You don't need chump change because chump change to you is $25-50 million that you're going to profit. You don't need that. That's chump change. Give it back to your people. Give it back to your community, man. That's the right thing to do. So, Brother Jay-Z, I know that you're listening, and I know that your audience is listening. All I'm telling you is understand that every time people from your community have to go out and buy a $500 ticket to go see you perform, they're not spending that on their children or on to put food on the table. You can afford it. You're a billionaire, my man. You can write this off. Write it off of your taxes. But give the people free bees once in a while. You send WABC 1,000 tickets, we'll offer them to the people. We'll give them away. Because I'd say 80% of the people at this concert were black. Another 10% were Hispanic. And another 5% may be white. Okay? But listen, you can't afford it, Jay-Z. You can do the right thing. And guess what? Now, our special guest, David Banks, Chancellor, former Chancellor of New York City. We miss you, brother. We miss you. How are you, David?
I'm doing great, Fernando. Always good to be with you, my friend.
Great.
Always. You know, we've known each other for a long time, and it's great to see you.
Listen, there's so much excitement here in this studio today because we had, a legend, someone that is going to be in our history books. His name is Michael Cohen. Mm-hmm. This guy was the fixer for Donald Trump. He was the man, a great attorney, amazing family, an entrepreneur, a guy that had resources. And he lost it one day. It was just taken away from him. Right. But I know him. If you know Michael Cohen, first of all, you like him. So those of you that don't like him, don't meet him. Because if you meet him, you're going to like him. It's like me and Mamdani. I don't know him, and I'm afraid to meet him. Because I know I'm going to like the guy, right? Same thing with Michael Cohen. If you don't know him, you don't like him, don't meet him. Because if you meet him, you're going to like the guy. Great smile, great energy. He's the man. David, listen, we're here to talk about the Board of Ed. We're here to talk about $45 billion budget, which is 30% of New York City's budget.
Right.
Okay? We're spending it at the Board of Ed. But yet, 43% of students, mostly black and Hispanic, can't read and can't do math. So where do we go from here, brother? Where do we go from here, David?
Well, first of all, I know how old school you are, Fernando, because you're still calling it the Board of Ed. They stopped calling it that years ago. A lot of people call it the DOE, the Department of Education. I call it the New York City Public Schools. But listen, you're right. We have not gotten this right in many, many, many years. Decades, really, we go back where so many of our kids, particularly in our most challenged neighborhoods, where we've not really been able to deliver the kinds of, gold star education that those kids really deserve. And so I just want you to know, first and foremost, I'm with you. I agree with that.
Dave, listen, I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Chancellor. I'm going to hold you accountable on this show.
Okay.
Because this show doesn't accept excuses.
Yep.
Okay? People that have excuses are people who failed. Okay? And you've been an educator most of your life.
Sure.
And one of the best, as far as my research on you, right? You've done an amazing job, but you were chancellor for 3 years. Why didn't you change the institution? What made it so difficult?
No. We did. First of all, institutions don't change overnight. That's number one. You got to be very careful about that. You start out with a system that has 1 million kids, 150,000+ employees. It doesn't change on a dime, right? So stuff takes time to actually change it. But I just want you to know, one of the main reason that I even took this job to be chancellor was to try to change what I thought was the most fundamental problem that the system has. And that was our failure to make sure we give our kids the ability to learn how to read. So many of our kids couldn't read, not just here in New York City, but this is a problem really all around the country where we have really failed our kids.
You know, we're going to go on a break and we're going to continue this conversation.
I'm just getting started, Fernando.
Listen, you are, and we've got time for you, brother.
No excuses.
Listen, we've got time for you, and people want to hear from you. People want to understand what goes on at I'm going to call it the Board of Ed because that's that's my thing.
You've been doing that a long time.
I've been doing it a long time. But Department of Education, we need to understand why it can't be fixed. And we're going to commercial break because we have a lot of sponsors. And now that Michael Cohen sits here before me, we're going to get more sponsors. It's crazy.
It's No Excuses with Fernando Mateo.
Business owner Fernando Mateo.
Almonte's Key Food, proudly serving communities throughout Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island for over 30 years. When you shop Key Food, you'll always find fresh products, great weekly specials, and exceptional personalized service. Visit at any of their Key Food stores at 8235 153rd Avenue, Lindenwood, New York, 935 Rosedale Road, Valley Stream, New York, and 6620 Avenue U, Brooklyn, New York.
One World Trade and 77 WABC. Both are real New York.
WABC. Our next guest, Fernando Mateo.
It's No Excuses with Fernando Mateo.
With me today, Republican candidate Fernando Mateo.
Now, here's Fernando Mateo.
Hey, here we are. We're here for those of you that are joining us. We've spoken a lot about things. We spoke about my new segment called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where we're calling out Mayor Mamdani with the good things, the bad things, and the ugly things that he does, and we're going to do that every week. But we're here with a special guest. His name is David Banks. He was the former Chancellor of New York City. And I want to invite Michael Cohen to come back into the studio, put his headphones on. I want him to come back, sit next to me here, because this guy, he's on fire, man. He's on fire. I don't know how many millions of people have tuned in. It's like I got bases loaded right now, brother. And I've got, 3 balls and no strikes. And I'm ready to either walk in that run or hit a home run and hit the ball out the park.
Whatever you do, don't strike out.
No, that's why I want him back in here. David, talk to us, man. You led the largest public school system in America. Tonight, let's talk about where our schools are today and where we're headed, please.
Yeah. Listen, first of all, know this. I was a teacher in the school system for many years. I made my way up through the ranks. Heck, I was even a school safety agent, Fernando. I don't know if you knew that. But, the main reason that I took this job was because I was just so deeply frustrated with our lack of performance. The fact that, so many of our kids who come to us and our parents who give us the best that they have, and these are their kids, and we really were not doing the right thing by their kids for decades. We haven't. And I trace it back to the fact that even when I was a teacher, I watched how we changed, how we taught kids how to read. And the fact that kids were not being taught properly how to read was a major issue for me. If kids don't learn how to read, I don't care what else you do in school. You can't be successful if you don't give them the basic foundational block. And for decades, we had gone into a whole nother system where kids were not even getting the basic foundational skills that they needed. And that is what I set out to change.
Mr. Chancellor, we have a budget of 30% of $126 billion going to one New York City institution.
Sure.
What can't you do with $45 billion? I mean, you had it, you managed it, it was yours. You operated independently from City Hall.
Well, to some degree,
that's what we want to know. To some degree, so you don't have full control.
No, you don't have full control. I mean, because now you have the school system is under what we call mayoral control, and so all the big decisions that get made, even by the chancellor, have to be approved by City Hall and by the mayor personally. So
Did they handcuff you?
No, I wouldn't say no. My working with Eric Adams, he didn't handcuff me. No, I think Eric trusted me to a large degree to make the kinds of big decisions that needed to be made. And we did that. And the biggest thing that we did was we began to retrain all the teachers across the school system, particularly in the earliest grades, on how to teach kids how to read. You would be shocked by the fact that so many teachers don't know fundamentally how to teach kids how to read. You would say, well, what the hell do we have a school system for? That's the reason why I put into place something called NYC Reads. And that was, we transformed how we actually teach reading. And we've seen the results. Some of the biggest gains that we've had over the last couple of years that we had not seen in decades in the New York City school system.
You know, Mr. Chancellor, I've asked Michael Cohen to join us because I've also asked him to run for mayor of New York City. You know, I've asked him, and I want him to be able to listen to you face to face, because you were one of the best chancellors we've had in a long time in New York City. And we all thought you were doing a great job because you come from the inner city. You come from the hood. You grew up and you were a teacher and you did all those things that you said. You know, discipline. Michael, you can jump in any time.
Yeah, so you brought up that, Chancellor, were you handcuffed? I know what it feels like to be handcuffed. Handcuffed and shackled. Literally handcuffed and shackled. I could tell you some stories about that. And you asked about, what can't you do with $40 billion? 45 billion. Well, the answer is you can't run the Department of Defense or the Department of War. But think about the number, $45 billion. Divide that by the number of students that each will be allocated, and the number is staggering. You would think that they're going to, university. That's how much money is spent on each individual student. So imagine, for that amount of money, you can't properly educate a child?
And you absolutely can. We were not doing that. Before I became chancellor, we absolutely were not. Now, you think about 40...
Well, de Blasio was the worst mayor this city has ever seen. Well, so those 8 years... I'm sure that the DOE was in shambles. I mean, they were shackled.
Well, there were a lot of challenges. De Blasio put his big emphasis around 3K and pre-K and the earliest kids, and there's been real success there. I don't want to knock that, but once kids were in kindergarten and going all the way through the rest of the school system, they were not learning how to read. Just think about that. Right? And so what would seem like the most fundamental thing, you send your kids to school, they should learn how to read.
Well, then how then did they pass the grade? How are they not being pulled back? I remember as a child, in school, we had a couple of kids who were left back.
Sure.
Right? They had fundamental reading problems in mathematics. Today, there's all other sorts of things that they do. They put them on various different medications. Sure. They have ADHD, whatever it might be.
Right.
How are they passing? Is it just simply do your time like I did in Otisville, and then you end up, getting out of the grade?
To some degree, Michael.
Well, that's wrong.
It's absolutely wrong.
We're not giving them the opportunities within which to make it in America.
Listen, I completely agree with that. We were doing social promotion pretty extensively for a long time.
Michael for mayor, you can come back as chancellor. I mean,
listen.
You'll be my chancellor with $45 billion.
Oh my God, with 45.
I mean, Mateo, seriously, $45 billion.
Let me say this when people hear $45 billion, right? Because we talk about it's about $40,000 per kid, right? It is a lot of money, right? But you need to know, less than 50% of that actually goes directly into classrooms and schools. So where does that $45 billion go?
The teachers union.
No, it doesn't go to teachers union.
I'm just kidding.
But think about this. We have the largest transportation system in the nation.
1.5 billion goes to that.
It goes to transportation. It goes to food. It goes to construction costs, building schools, keeping the lights on in schools. There's a lot of just operational stuff. It goes to pay pensions for teachers, right? So there's a lot. We get the money that goes to charter schools actually comes through our budget. That's part of that $40+ billion. Well,
charter schools
as a pass through that goes into them as well.
Charter schools are great.
Well, some are great. and some are not so great. There's a mixed bag with that. There are some that are doing extremely well, and there are some that are just doing, they're just doing all right.
How about discipline? When I went to school,
Right.
And I dropped out of school when I was 14 years old, before I entered high school. And the reason why
You mean
I dropped,
before they held you back?
Actually, I was smarter than the 12th graders, so I was bored in
I
school.
know you were brilliant, Fernando.
I was bored in school because
Right.
I grew up with priests and nuns.
Yeah.
So, I went to boarding schools most of my life. And, when you misbehaved, you got smacked in the face. When you misbehaved, you got the ruler.
You think we should be
in the
smacking the
hands.
kids in the face and hitting them with rulers?
Today
Listen,
you get an
Fernando.
Oreo cookie and a glass of milk.
Listen, the way some kids behave in school, there's no discipline.
None.
It's like there's no discipline. The teachers have no authority. And when the teachers try to discipline, then they get punished.
No, they get sued.
They get
get
sued.
sued
Well,
by
no,
the system, and the system, the legal system, rewards the bad actor when it comes to this. You can't touch my child. You can't discipline my child. You're going to put my child into this class. All of a sudden, we're going to speak to the superintendent. We're going to speak to the principal. We're filing a lawsuit against you. And you know what? I'm curious, from that $45 billion, how much of it goes to paying off lawsuits, especially these despicable lawsuits by these shyster lawyers?
Well, I don't know what percentage of that would be off of that off the top of my head, but I will tell you this. The discipline, a lot of times, yes, you got cases of significant disciplinary issues that you have to deal with, and I had to deal with those kinds of issues. That is not the predominant theme in our school system. You talk to most teachers around the system, they won't tell you, I can't teach because the kids are just driving me crazy. That's not the question. The biggest problem we've had is that you're teaching sixth grade and the child that you're teaching reads on a second grade level. That's been the biggest problem. That's why I put the system in place to make sure that we change that old way of how we were teaching kids. And you know how I know that it works? First of all, it's already showing results. It takes several years before you really see the biggest results. But here's the main reason why we know that it really works. You know who did this same implementation of the system? The state of Mississippi. This is a deep red state. For years, Mississippi had the worst school system in the nation.
You know that most of the kids in Mississippi couldn't spell Mississippi?
They couldn't spell Mississippi.
It's the truth.
Absolutely true,
They
Michael.
still don't know how to spell Mississippi.
No, that's not
in
true.
New York City.
Well, but maybe
the kids in New York City.
It's a lot of S's and I's.
The kids in Mississippi know how to spell it, and you know why? Because they went to something that they call the science of reading, which it's an old school way of teaching kids how to read. That's what we adopted here. Mississippi went from being the worst state in the nation on reading to damn near the best. But it took about 5 to 7 years before they actually got there. That's the system that I put in place in New York a couple of years ago. We're already seeing results. So it's like a person being pushed down into a hole, 100 feet into a hole, right? You climb up 50 feet. You're not out of the hole yet, but you're making progress. We are making progress. And I think, when I left, my successor, Melissa, she kept this same program going. The new chancellor that's there now, he's still keeping that going. They've invested the right kind of money in it. You are going to see in New York City, over these next several years, continued improvement because of the system that I put in place.
Listen, I have a very important
Why did they get
question.
rid of you?
That's another question you have to ask. You'd have to ask Eric Adams.
I mean, if you think about it, right?
Let's call Eric right now.
I have a cell number. I'll tell you, we bumped into each other in Chicago. He was like, I'm going to need your help raising money. And I was like, yeah, sure, give me a call. So we swapped numbers. We were supposed to get together, and then boom, he had the problem. But here's the question your ideas in terms of helping to re-educate the system to benefit the children. These are all things that I don't care if you're on the left, you're on the right, you're in the center. Everybody probably acknowledges that what you did was the right move.
Yes.
Who's the fool that would turn around and get rid of somebody who actually helps to fix the system?
Well, I'll leave that to you guys to determine. But here's the deal: you can come in as a chancellor and you've got the right ideas and you know how to move the system and you can make great things happen. There are so many political influences to every damn decision that you have to make that it makes it really, really tough. I'll give you one example. The class size law that they put in place is something that really is It was so crazy. Now, this was something that the union wanted to put in place. I worked well with the union while I was there on implementing this reading strategy.
Did you like the
union? I
union?
liked it well enough. Yeah, Michael Mulgrew worked with him. He was not an obstacle to what I was trying to do. The biggest obstacle I faced, and it really became a bigger issue even after I left, this class size bill, which basically says that we have to hire thousands more teachers to lower the class size, when all the research tells us that smaller class size is not the biggest strategy for winning the game. The biggest strategy is to have a great teacher in the classroom. I can be a teacher. If I'm a mediocre teacher with 25 kids, I'm going to do worse than a teacher that's got 35, but who's a great teacher who really knows how to teach kids. That's the number one thing that you've got to do. And that law is going to cost us millions of dollars. And I think it's the reason why Mamdani has even asked for more time.
Mamdani is completely worthless.
Hey, Michael, this is my show.
I apologize.
This is no excuses. This isn't.
Michael said you asked him to come back in here.
Well, wait a minute. This isn't when you know you know.
Can I ask one more? And then
one more, and then give me a break.
Here's the crazy part. Right now, technology is at a level that we have not seen in the history of this world. AI. Don't tell me that you can't use AI. You can't use some programs. Make the programs interesting for young children to engage. These kids could play Fortnite which is 14 days. Most of them don't even know that, right? It means 14 days. So they'll play 14 straight days of Fortnite. How about if you make a game where it helps you to learn?
Wait, are we going to bring Michael in as a chance, the next Chancellor?
No, listen, Michael's absolutely right. The last thing I was working on before I left as Chancellor was what we were doing on AI and technology. It's here. And it is the future.
Use it.
And if we're supposed to be preparing our kids to be, take their rightful place in this society, you've got to give them all the skills that they need. You can't run away from it. And when I was there, I was leaning into it. I put an AI advisory committee together. I had a huge conference, but I wasn't there long enough to bake it. And now I'm seeing the system run further and further away, put their head in the sand, and that is not the way to prepare our kids for the future.
One of the good things that I've got to give credit when credit is due. Kathy Hochul took away cell phones in schools. I think that
I had been advocating for that for a year before Kathy Hochul.
Okay, but you know what?
And you know the reason why we didn't do it when I was there?
Why?
Because Eric Adams wouldn't let me do it. Why? Because there was his own political reasons. The governor's office called me and said, we want to have the rest of the state follow what you're doing, David. And we never got it off the ground until after Kathy Hochul came and did it. But we were leading in that space. But again, that's the challenge about being a chancellor when you now have to deal with all these other political issues in spite of what we know works well for kids.
Let's talk about Mayor Mamdani. What's your first impression of his education agenda?
I would have an impression if I heard one. I've not heard an education agenda yet from Mayor Mamdani. He has, he's laid out a vision on a lot of other issues. On education, I've been very disappointed. I've spoken to him once, and I even gave him some things that I thought that he really should be focused on. How to get kids more civically engaged, how to build on technology and AI. As a young guy, he really could be the guy that sets a tone for how we do that and make this school system the most technologically literate system in the nation. I've not heard a word of an education vision other than 3K and 2K.
That is breaking news here on No Excuses. Former Chancellor David Banks has not heard the mayor's agenda on education. I mean, Mayor Mamdani, I know that you are listening, because you know what? If you don't listen to No Excuses, I don't know what you're listening to, right?
And I'm here to help.
You can learn. You mean
when you know?
Well, when you know comes before me, so I'm like the cleanup batter.
You sure are. You're the Aaron Judge of this WABC team.
I am fired up,
you
man.
Are.
And with Michael here by my side, listen, we got to break for some more commercial breaks. Some more commercial breaks as they pay the bills. All right?
That's right.
Take it away.
It's No Excuses with Fernando Mateo.
Business owner Fernando Mateo. This is a Worldwide News Network update.
It's been an incredible year for the Seattle Seahawks, and now they've capped it off with another record-setting moment. Just 5 months ago, they beat the New England Patriots to become Super Bowl champs. And now the team has been sold by the estate of late owner Paul Allen for $9.6 billion. That sets a new record for the highest sale price and valuation of an NFL franchise. Volkswagen's CEO has indicated that he's trying to avoid closing plants as he seeks to turn around the automaker's performance. Volkswagen last week said its fundamental realignment over the past 3 years had reached its next phase, announcing plans to streamline the model lineup by up to half. There's been renewed speculation about the future of several plants in Germany. CEO Oliver Bloom says in remarks published today that, quote, there are more intelligent solutions than just closing plants. Ken Rhodes, Worldwide News Network, New York.
It's No Excuses with Fernando Mateo.
Business owner Fernando Mateo, who is the president of the State Federation of Taxi Driver spokesperson for the United Bodegas of America.
Now, here's Fernando Mateo.
Listen, we have spaghetti and meatballs here. Because we don't know whether this is when you know, or whether it's no excuses. And Michael keeps interrupting me. He interrupts my interview with former Chancellor David Banks.
You told him he was a superstar.
But now he's taking over. Listen, John Catsimatidis, I know you are listening. Michael Cohen is not going to take my hour. I'm telling you right now, we will be up in arms. Listen, seriously, I really appreciate Michael being here because he brings a different perspective. And listen, we're both new to this. You know, I've never been a broadcaster. He's never been a broadcaster. But we have fun with what we do.
Yeah.
You know, when you have fun, people will have fun with you.
Yeah.
With us today, we have David Banks, for those that are joining us. David Banks is the former Chancellor of New York City. He did an amazing job, started an amazing program, and for no reason whatsoever, one day he was gone. But he put in his 3 years. Wish he could have still been there. You know, if you could tell the mayor, if you can advise the mayor, what would you advise him? If you could be an advisor to the mayor, what would you be telling him today? $45 billion, 43% of the kids not being able to read or do math in New York City. I mean, what would you tell him?
Well, first of all, I would tell him, number one, he should stay the course on NYC Reads. Number one thing that we put in place, keep that going. And I think he has done that, right? I would give him that. The second thing I would tell him was a huge part of what we were also focused on was what we call bold futures. How do you connect kids to the real world? Kids who are in high school in particular, right? Who, you know, very often, like you, Fernando, get bored in school. They got to connect to industry. They got to really be able to see, why am I going to school every day? What is it supposed to connect to? Many of these kids have never sat at the table or been in these places of finance or any of these places of industry where you understand how to make the connection to school to the real world. That's a phenomenal place to connect the business community with the education community, so they're not operating in silos. Mm-hmm. Connect them. This is the future workforce. How do we get in front of it so that we're actually preparing kids from the youngest ages to take these jobs and these careers in these places? That would be number two. Three, I would tell him, lean in. You know, he did a phenomenal job in getting young people engaged in this electoral process. A lot of young people who usually don't care about politics got
a lot of dumb white young people.
Well, and they're not, Chancellor, with all due respect, Mamdani didn't engage them over politics. He engaged them over freebies, free food, free transportation, freezes on rent. He's got free. And their ideology right now, this newest generation, if it's free, it's for me. And he leaned in on that because right now, New York City is unaffordable for these individuals.
Well, Michael, I'm not going to get into whether I agree with you or disagree with you on that. What I was talking about was the fact that whatever it was, he got young people to start to at least pay attention. You may not agree with their politics, but he got them to pay attention. You can keep that same methods and get these young people engaged in civic education in our school system. Far too many of our kids have no clue about what's even going on at all. So there's a way to engage them. And lastly, I would tell him, you've got to get out in front with technology, AI. You've got to lead that. Don't lead from the back. You've got to be out in front. Right now, we got activists who are saying, let's have a 2-year moratorium. That's like putting your head in the sand. I don't think I understand where it's coming from because they want us to be safe. However, my position on it is get in front, make sure teachers are being properly trained, make sure they're being properly connected so that they can help kids to understand it. Those would be some of the things that I would be advising.
Dave, you miss your job, man. You miss being chancellor. I feel it. I see it. I hear it. You miss being chancellor. If Mayor Mamdani called you and asked you, I want you to be my next chancellor because the chancellor that's there is in trouble. He's been caught in, at least what I've read, okay? He's been caught in some corrupt nonsense, okay? And I think the mayor's got to do something about that.
Right.
What if he were to call you tonight and say, after hearing you on this show, okay, and knowing that Michael Cohen was witness to what you've said, if he were to call you, what would you say? Would you accept being the next chancellor again?
No, I would not. No. I did 40 years in the school system, and I played all the major roles in it. And while I was there,
it took you that long to finish school?
A little slow, Michael, but I did 40 years in the school system. It was a great run. What I'd like to do is I can be an advisor. I can help him. The day-to-day of the job, it takes a lot of energy. Nobody fully appreciates just how large this school system really is. Well, I would go to schools and districts where most of the kids were Ukrainian. And then I'd leave and I'd go to another place out in Brooklyn and all the kids are West Indian. Like the whole world lives here. Dozens and dozens of languages that speak. I would say the whole world lives in New York. And a lot of us are just in certain neighborhoods that we live in. And you don't really move around the whole city and see just what the diversity really looks and feels like. It's absolutely amazing. The current chancellor who's there now worked for me, Kamar Samuels. Kamar is a good guy. He's a really good guy. He's a nice guy. I think he's doing the best that he can. But I've still not heard a vision articulated.
It's above his head. I think the job is above his head. Well, I really don't think that he has the experience to run a New York City's Department of Education. That's just what a lot of people have told me.
Yeah.
He lacks the experience. Mayor Mamdani, you need to surround yourself with people that don't yes you to death and agree with everything that you're doing. You need to surround yourself with real New Yorkers, people that have made New York what it is. Mayor Mamdani, you need to respect capitalism. You could have a socialist mentality, but understand that socialism doesn't work. You need to engage capitalism because people that are going to our schools don't want to live in a socialist society. They don't want to be poor. People want to get out of the projects. People want to get out of affordable housing. People don't want free bus rides. People don't want things for free. People want to earn it. And you know what, Mayor? You're a likable guy, but you need to understand what capitalism is about because you know what? The Democratic Socialist Party, or the DSA, as people call it, is going to turn out to be like the Tea Party. It was hot at one time. Everyone thought the Tea Party was a real legitimate party, and then it disappeared.
And you know why the Socialist Party is going to fall apart? Because ultimately you're going to find out that the promises that are being made are not promises that can be kept. By the way, you know what the DOE actually stands for? Dumbest organization ever.
Come on, Michael, stop it.
Dumbest organization ever. The worst operated organization that I believe exists in New York City. They're wasting money left and right. Our kids are being taught or not taught at a $45 billion a year budget. That to me is criminal.
Michael, you know what I say, David? I say the chancellor should be elected by the people. The chancellor should not be appointed. The chancellor should be elected like the mayor's elected. This way the chancellor doesn't have to, be beholden to politics.
Well, do you think the
politicians and politics?
You think the police commissioner should be elected too?
No, the police commissioner is a different story. You're not teaching kids, educating the future, bringing programs to New York, to New York City kids. It's not happening that way.
Let me say this. Elected or not elected, mayoral control or not mayoral control. There's no perfect system anywhere, right? And so the deal is, in spite of all of these challenges, okay, now what? Because a lot of people I see, they'll complain about all of the problems. But I'm saying, okay, so now what do you want? What should we do? What are the solutions? How do we actually solve for some of these things? There's some people think we should make the whole school system of charter schools, right? So there are a wide range of things that people think. There's no one easy answer. It's very complicated, but you got to be in it and try to make a difference.
Chancellor Banks, we have to go to commercial breaks because unlike when you know, we have a lot of sponsors here that we're responsible for.
That's right.
Okay, Michael will get them, but I have them right now. So let's go to the commercial breaks.
It's No Excuses with Fernando Mateo.
Business owner Fernando Mateo.
Almonte's Key Food, proudly serving communities throughout Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island for over 30 years. When you shop Key Food, you'll always find fresh products, great weekly specials, and exceptional personalized service. Visit at any of their Key Food stores at 8235 153rd Avenue, Lindenwood, New York, 935 Rosedale Road, Valley Stream, New York, and 6620 Avenue U, Brooklyn, New York.
Here at 77 WABC, our people serve the people. What do we mean? Whether it's a seat in the White House, New York City government, or 77 WABC. Judge Janine Pirro, Larry Kudlow, Stephen Moore, Governor David Patterson, Governor George Pataki, Congressman Peter King, and Roger Stone. Our people serve the people. For the past 104 years, nobody does it better. For the love of community, country, and common sense.
Our next guest, Fernando Mateo.
It's No Excuses with Fernando Mateo.
With me today, Republican candidate Fernando Mateo.
Now, here's Fernando Mateo.
Well, for those of you that have just tuned in, we've had an amazing hour here. We had Michael Cohen on with us. We have our special guest, Chancellor David Banks, one of the best chancellors our city has ever had. And now we have the segment that's called Liar of the Week. The Liar of the Week. Every week we're going to recognize someone whose words don't match the facts. No spin. No excuses, just the truth. This week, No Excuses Liar of the Week is Curtis Lewa.
Soccer, like most Americans. Did you enjoy yourself flirting with soccer again? It's not our sport. We're so greedy here in America. We want everything. We got football, we got baseball, we got basketball, right? Oh, we're not sad. We're going to be number one in soccer. We're not birthed that way. The rest of the world, from the time they come out of the womb, they're kicking a soccer ball around. It's unique to them. Give them something. And now stop. Stop with this orgy of it could have been, possibly would have been. Oh, the president negotiated it. It's over. So now you discover your new favorite team, Norway, right? With Haaland. Bam! Bam! Like an American smash mouth football player. America will fall in love with Norway because you need something now.
Listen, this guy is the biggest hater in America. Okay? He hates everybody. He talks bad about but he doesn't. The thing with him is that not only does he talk bad, and he makes stories up. He's like a perpetual liar. I don't think if he's Catholic, and I don't know what religion he's in, there are no confessionals in New York City that will ever forgive him for all the lies that he has said. Curtis Lewa is a compulsive liar, a guy that's lied his entire career, and he will never stop. Now he's talking bad about the U.S. Soccer team. You know, that Americans are not soccer players. You know, don't knock America. Don't knock Americans. You know, you live in a 300 square foot apartment with 30 cats, my friend. You got to go get a job, you lost your job here at WABC, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to this radio station. Now, look at the lineups we have. millions of people are listening to us every single Sunday here. Okay, and watch out because Michael Cohen is here, and you never know. If you blink, you may lose, right? So hey, listen, I want to thank our Chancellor David Banks for being here, for joining us tonight, and I want to hear your last words before I finish thanking you and I say goodbye, because listen, this hour has gone by and things go by fast.
Yeah.
When you're having fun, right? When you're not having fun, it's like it takes forever to get through a show, right?
Right.
But you know what? We're non-conventional. We're not scripted.
Right.
We're not told what to do, what to say, who we should have, who we shouldn't have here at WABC. I've never done this before, and I just came on, and I am running with it. And I'm breaking records, man.
Right.
Everybody's listening. This is fun, Dave.
You're having a blast, and you're looking good. You got a face made for radio. Listen, Fernando, one of the things.
Wait.
Oh, you picked up on that one, huh?
That's like a little insult. Everybody tells me how good I look.
Of course.
Everyone talks about how good looking I am,
That's
and you're
what I
talking
meant.
about I look good on radio.
That's what I meant.
I picked it up.
Well, listen, this has been a blast. I've known you for a long time. You've got great energy. You're going to be a major success at this. My wife and I have taken a turn at some of this platform as well. We actually have a podcast called The Beacon and Blueprint. My wife, Sheena Wright, who used to be the first deputy mayor of New York.
Attorney, Columbia graduate.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
Ivy League, man.
She's done
Quality.
She's done a lot of wonderful and amazing things. And we talk about a wide range of topics on our show as well, The Beacon and Blueprint. So certainly invite folks to tune in and check us out.
Dave, we will. It's not the last time you're coming on this show, because whenever we have topics regarding education, you're the go-to guy.
You got it.
So thank you, and thank you to everyone that's been listening to us, for spending your Sunday evenings with us. If you missed any part of tonight's show, don't listen to when you know. No excuses, okay? Follow us on social media. We'll post the highlights. Join us again next Sunday, right here, between 6 and 7, for another edition of No Excuses. Coming up next, the great Jake Novak. And I am Fernando Mateo. Have a great night, and God bless you, New York. I love you.